Ukrainian forces carried out a targeted strike on the Russian command using FPV drones. According to the UA_Reg team unit that carried out the operation, the results were more than successful. On August the 16th, at about 9:30 p.m., a car with military license plates 9828RM was hit on the Rilsk-Komutovka highway in the Kursk region. The car was carrying a high-ranking commander, Lieutenant General Isedula Abachev, deputy commander of the Russian Group of Forces North. The attack left the high-ranking military officer seriously injured. The source claims that the injuries were so severe that Abachev lost both limbs and was effectively unable to continue serving. UA_Reg team published a video of this flawless operation. The footage shows how the drone first pursues the car with Abachev and eventually reaches its target. After that, the Ukrainian FPV delivers a control strike, hitting the already damaged car again. The effectiveness of the Ukrainian UAV forces in this area is hard to overestimate. In addition to the successful attack on Abachev, the drones also hit a number of other targets. Several damaged or completely destroyed Russian military vehicles were recorded on just a section of the route of several dozen meters. Abachev was considered one of the key commanders in the northern direction of the Russian troops and was directly responsible for coordinating the actions of Russian units. His loss was undoubtedly a very painful blow for the Kremlin. Abachev comes from Russia's Dagestan region, whose leader, Sergei Melikov, said on Telegram that he was in a serious but stable condition in one of the best military medical centers in the country. At least a dozen Russian generals have been killed in the war that started with Moscow's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Abachev graduated from the Higher Tank Command School in the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv when Ukraine was still part of the Soviet Union, which collapsed in 1991. He received the Gold Star of the Hero of Russia for his role in combat missions during the current war. Dagestani leader Melikov said he was the pride of the region, describing him as a combat general and a wise commander who always tries to protect his personnel, sometimes neglecting his own safety. During the war in Ukraine, Oryx analysts found 140 visual confirmations of the destruction or damage of Russian T-90M Proryev tanks. The latest cases of this model being lost, confirmations of the destruction or damage of Russian T-90M Proryev tanks. The latest cases of this model being lost were due to a hit from a $300 FPV drone, which destroys equipment worth several million. The 429th Separate Unmanned Systems Regiment of the Ukrainian Armed Forces Achilles has once again demonstrated how inexpensive kamikaze drones with a first-person view are changing the balance of power on the modern battlefield. During recent operations, Ukrainian operators used FPV drones to strike and disable a Russian T-90M Proryev, the most advanced and most expensive main battle tank in the Russian arsenal. Despite its advanced armor and defenses, the $4.9 million machine proved extremely vulnerable to a swarm of drones that cost several times less. Army Recognition Portal explains what damage FPV drones cause to Russian tanks with modern protection and why Western weapons manufacturers should pay attention to this. The T-90M, which officially entered service with Russia in 2020, is the pinnacle of Russian armored vehicle development with improved relict reactive armor, an upgraded fire control system, and increased survivability designed to counter modern ATGMs. However, its defeat by Ukrainian FPV drones highlights the growing threat from cheap and easy-to-deploy UAVs that can target tanks' weak points, such as the engine bay, optics, and combat gear. In this case, drone operators from the Achilles unit successfully bypassed traditional armor protection by directing drones with payloads into the tank's most vulnerable areas, forcing the crew to evacuate and disabling the tank. This incident not only signals a tactical success for Ukraine, but also raises concerns that extend far beyond the current conflict. For NATO, this event is a clear demonstration that even the most advanced MBTs in the West's arsenal, such as the German Leopard 2A8, the American M1A2 Abrams SEP V3, or the upcoming British Challenger 3 tank, are susceptible to the same vulnerabilities when subjected to mass FPV drone attacks. These Western tanks were designed to withstand penetrating munitions and guided missiles, but their armor and active protection systems are not optimized to counter swarms of small, precise and disposable air systems attacking from unusual angles. The war in Ukraine has completely changed the way tanks are used. Tanks, once considered the decisive spearhead of ground offensives, are increasingly forced to operate under constant threat from aerial reconnaissance and UAV attacks. This change has not affected the relevance of heavy armor, but has created an urgent need to adapt tank doctrine and technology. Survival no longer depends on passive protection, but on the ability to repel aerial threats before they strike. Anti-drone solutions, from electronic jammers and radar-guided missiles to compact directed energy systems, will be a major part of tank modernization in the future. A retired German Leopard 2 tank commander told Army Recognition, "The war in Ukraine proves that armored vehicles cannot rely on their armor alone. If drones worth a few €100 can destroy tanks worth several million euros, our doctrine will have to change immediately. Defenses must be both electronic and physical." An American defense analyst also emphasized that NATO tanks are not immune to this threat. If every armored brigade does not have electronic warfare and jamming capabilities, as well as directed energy weapons, NATO will suffer catastrophic losses in the early stages of a future high-intensity conflict.